I love technology. Dun, dun, dun. Is today Saturday? Today's Saturday. There. Okay. Got it. All right. For those of you watching on Facebook, I'm not even going to try to share music because I've tried every single way and for some reason it's not working out. So we're just going to have the timer going for 5 minutes. And we are starting the final day of pause, the virtual experience to reconnect with yourself and your vitality for women that are looking for solutions to their hormonal vitality. I see people coming in the room. Dun, da, da, da. Sharing it to Facebook and all the places. Looking forward to today. Looking forward to today. All right. And for those of you in Facebook, we'll put the link to the replays in the comments. Obviously, if you would like to register so that you can get the workbook and all the support, um, just comment down below and say, I'd like to register. I want the workbook. How do I receive support? Whatever questions you have. While we are waiting to get started, would love to just see in the comments, in the chat, where are you joining from? Anything in particular that you're really struggling with from the perspective of menopause, hormones, mood, energy level, sleep. Happy to hear that up front. And then we'll get moving and grooving with the final day. Obviously, for those of you that are consistent with the replays, you are loving it and you would like to come for the closed door live Q&A, which is tomorrow on Sunday. Please put that in the comments and we'll make sure that you get the link as well. And that will not be live streamed into Facebook. So if you would like to come for that live Q&A, and I don't have anything in particular that I'll bring that day other than hot seats and answering your questions and what's going on for you and offering you some solutions, which is always fun. Dun, dun, dun. I love waiting. Hmm. Veronica, I see you, and we're coming in from Vermont. Hi, hi. Excited to see you on Sunday too. Yes, yes. And Tina's coming in, and Lisa's coming in. Just in time. Perfect timing. Happy to have you. And for those of you in Facebook, whether you're in Women Rocking Their Energy, Hormones, and Libido, or Beyond the Red Tent, or the Menopause support group, I'm here for all of you as well. So just comment if you're desiring more, right? If you would like answers to your experience of hormones and chapters of change, as well as your thyroid and your adrenals and your confidence and your vision. We are covering all of that. For those of you on Zoom, and I guess for those of you in Facebook as well, and if you're watching the replay, you're welcome to always email to Aaliyah. I would love to hear just put in the chat how many days have you been on live? Day one, day two, day three, day four. Have you attended all? How many of you watched the replay? It's always helpful for me to kind of get a feel for are you new in this space? How much do I need to recap? I'm seeing in the chat. Bow down. Mm, so good to hydrate for 16 hours. Yes. Aaliyah. Aaliyah and I have done 16 of these free live workshops over the years. So, yes, Aaliyah. And Veronica, that's awesome. You've been on all of them. Hopefully, you've really gotten a lot out of it and see it as being powerful and potent and all the stuff. Replays day one and two and live day three. So cool. I love that the replay page is working. And, for those of us that this time works for you for your schedule, and if you can move mountains and make it happen, awesome. And for those of you that need to watch it in a different time, I get it. I live a really full, productive life too. I like kind of doing things in my own timing. And so cheers to replays. Okay, pause. That's good. We get to turn the timer off, turn the video on, and let's get this show on the road. Down, down. So good, so good, so good. Hi. Welcome to day 4 of Pause. It's the final day. This has been so fun. We've been live an hour a day. This will be the 4th time. The replays will stay up until the 15th, or I should say end of day on the 14th. And we've been on an incredible journey together. And today is all about personalizing your next steps to truly embody vitality. So take a deep breath. Land, you're here now. You've moved mountains. We are on Saturday. I have been home with my 10-year-old not feeling well, so cuddled up with her on my lap, and we watched The Notebook for the first time. Although I did have to skip a couple scenes. We're like, this isn't quite right for a 10-year-old. And I know that we're exactly where we need to be right here, right now. And I ask that once again, you keep your video on. Do your best to turn off all of the outside noise. There's a lot of it, and it will always be there. And for right here, right now, you get to prioritize you and say, I'm being present for me. Hopefully you have your workbook, especially now that we're day 4. If you're watching on Facebook, you're watching the replay, and this is your first session, you probably want your workbook. It's going to be useful, especially if you're a note taker and you'd like to see the visuals along with it. And if you don't have your workbook, just put workbook in the chat, and Aaliyah and the team will figure out the best way to get it to you. It is a great resource to track your progress and reflect on what you've learned. I don't know about you, when I do things like this, I like to keep the workbook and then sometimes a month later, a quarter later, a year later, go back and look at it and go, oh, wow, I forgot about that, kind of like journaling. And if you're looking for more personalized experience, me and the support team are here to help. So you've met Krista, you've met Aaliyah. We can always connect. On the replay page is an application to have a breakthrough call with me. Also on that page are women that have shared their own experiences, and those testimonials are not pre-rehearsed. They don't ever know what I'm asking in advance. And a lot of women get nervous to be on camera. And so honor them when you listen to the testimonials, take them seriously. Hopefully it gives you a sense of hope and belief in the potential of whatever your scenario is really transforming. To recap briefly, day 1, we really dismantled what's been in the way of your vitality. And I introduced the 6 key areas that keep women stuck in fine. Day 2, we dove a little bit deeper into those areas and we talked about abolishing them and transforming your life to feeling absolutely vibrant, and specifically kind of dug into hormones, thyroid and adrenals. And how do I know? Could it be this? Could it be that? And even if I've been told by my provider, everything looks fine, but I don't recognize myself in the mirror. And then yesterday, we really dove into the power of consumption and assimilation and detoxification. What you eat and what you think and what you allow into your life through your eyes, your mouth, and your heart, and how detoxifying can radically shift your energy, and really taking that whole concept into consideration. And then today we get to start really coming up with some personalized plans. For those of you that are just joining today, and if you're not familiar with me, if you haven't listened to my podcast, if you haven't been watching me, if you maybe haven't been on the other days, or you're not familiar with my social media, one thing to know is Maraya is all A's. So Maraya. You can find me in all the places. MarayaBrown.com, Maraya Brown on Instagram. It has an underscore on either side. Maraya Brown in all the socials. And then my podcast is called the Women's Vibrancy Code Podcast. It's in top 2.5% of all podcasts. It's lovely. I don't even know. I think we're up to episode 160, somewhere around there. And then I also provide support to the women and men that say yes and come into courses and programs and personalized packages and retreats. It's me and a team of experts. Okay. So I have a team dietitian who specializes in gut microbiome. There's a team trauma release specialist. There's also a sexologist and a mindset coach and a program coordinator and a community manager. And through all of us, we really hold the container for your real transformation, whether it's hormones or I'm not to get into that. I was going to talk about the HPA access, but I think that might be too much right now. But we're all here to guide you every step of the way. And I've been supporting women for 24 years now. I did my what's called certified nurse midwifery training at Yale University, finished in 2007. Before that, it was doula work and international work and work with home birth midwives and birthing centers, and then also trained through the Institute of Functional Medicine. And so there's been a lot of chapters of how I've supported women, whether it was running the women's health and federally funded clinics or private practices, functional medicine practices, and international health projects in Central America and Haiti and West Africa. So I don't say that just to boast, but my hope is that you can really trust that I'm not just blowing smoke out my you know what. I think during the pandemic, a lot of people decided to get online and become online coaches, whether or not they really have background in history and track record and certification. And everybody's different. I think it's really important that you lean into people where you resonate with their energy, but you also vet them. And do they have credentials? Do they have a track record? And I can tell you that I do. And now, whether or not you resonate that with that, we get to see. And either way, welcome and enjoy today and enjoy the replays. Um, don't forget to engage in the chat, whether you're on Facebook or Zoom. Would love to know where you're watching from. Tina, I see the replays. Yes, went live with you once and watched 3 replays. I'm so grateful. And thank you for dedicating your time. It shows that you're invested in your well being. And I love hearing from each and every one of you. So if you haven't seen my emails, please make sure you're checking your spam folder. My CRM, which is the thing that kind of houses emails, has changed a couple times. And sometimes if you haven't said that, yes, my email, which is marayabrown.com, is trusted, you might be missing some of the emails. And hopefully, you've noted that I've talked about the Women's Vibrancy Accelerator Trifecta, which I opened the doors. That pricing is pretty significantly discounted until end of day on the 14th, with the added virtual VIP day. And, we can talk a little bit more about what that is. But also, if you say yes by Sunday, I'm adding in for your 90-day experience being welcomed into the more intimate community calls, which are really potent and beautiful. And it's just one more source of transformation. And we all get to approach it in our own timing. If you prefer more one-on-one, you like to hop on the Q&As, you like intimate community, you like self-paced, it's all there for you, as well as the testing, the Dutch Plus test, and looking at your adrenals and your thyroid and your inflammatory markers. And it's my fresh health and hormone and vitality optimization program, is what I call it. For years, I only had a year-long program. And what I've found over the last year to year and a half is I think we're a little bit zoomed out, and a lot of my clients are in a number of different, year-long coaching programs, and they're kind of going, I just want to have more swift, bite-sized pieces. And so it's my response to say, okay, here we go. Here's a Women's Vibrancy Accelerator Trifecta. It's 90 days. And yeah, I'm here and available, and so is the team, especially if you're ready to go deeper. This is an opportunity to invest in yourself. I'll put the link one more time in the chat, and Aaliyah can too as well. And then when you're on the replay page, just fill out an application. We can always hop on a call if you're having questions about whatever it is or anything that we've covered throughout this workshop. Today's about connection, connecting with your passion, your community, your vision for the future, and the choice you make now to honor your individual needs. And it matters. It matters today what will be your reality 3 months from now, 6 months from now, 18 months from now, right? So I wanted to start today by asking, what clarity have you found over these past few days? What's resonated with you? What did you realize around, gosh, I really have been settling for that four-letter word called fine in my life? And I would love it if you just type it in the chat, share in the comments. What a ha. Especially for those of you that have been active in the chat, and then you give yourself a night to sleep and you wake up in the morning and you hydrate and it has time to simmer and then settle. And so I'm curious if there's been any time or energy kind of um, ruminating in it. And even if it's just a word, I know it's a lot to ask, but put in the chat, what clarity have you found? Where have you been settling for fine? What aha have you had? Do you like my bling bling water bottle? My mother-in-law gave it to me. Okay, how much I've settled for not great sleep and low energy. Oh my gosh, yeah. And sometimes we just get fed up with not having the answers, and you'll go and see a provider, and they're like, "Here, I'll prescribe you some Ambien," and you're like, "That's not what I want. I want good sleep." Especially when we know that sleep is the time when most of our testosterone is produced. It helps regulate our detoxification. It helps regulate our lubrication of the brain, our hydration. Sleep is when the filing systems take place so that we can actually file away the learnings and the memories from the day before. Sleep is so potent. And once again, if you do listen to the Women's Vibrancy Code podcast, episode 55, 56, and 57, I did a deep dive into sleep. Yeah, coordination is necessary, but not something available to me right now. Totally. To go, how do I coordinate all of these pieces? But then to go, how do I make this available? How do I how do I find the resources to really say this is for me? I don't know of anything else like this in the world. And I'm here and I'm showing up. How can I bring this into the realm of possibility? And I really encourage you to email Aaliyah, admin@marayabrown.com. Maybe I think what I'm reading into that is maybe it feels like, ooh, maybe it's too much of a stretch. Time, energy, money, whatever it may be. And maybe you go, I'd rather just explore the membership. Just know that there's lots of options, but you've got to start with being in the place of self advocacy and asking the question, right? And showing up here as part of that, which I am grateful and thankful that you are. I've been saying I am fine, but I really am not fine, just surviving, not thriving. Yeah, so good, so potent, so good. Um, and as we've discussed, the six areas we explored, right? So hormones, energy, libido, confidence, community, vision, they're really key to abolishing fine and stepping into vitality. And they don't exist in a silo, right? We want to really go, how am I addressing all of them? And I believe it begins with our energy and our hormones as the foundation. If they're not addressed, we've got a major gap, a major hole. And so when you start there, it has a ripple effect on everything else. And once again, I said that quote, one without their health has but one dream, and one with their health has many. Totally. Yesterday, we got into what goes in and out of our eyes and our mouth and our heart. And we explored a little bit to go, what is my commitment level? And what's in my way? Am I afraid of change? Am I afraid of the declaration to say yes? And I referenced the book, The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, and the chapter on the barriers that get in our way, right? Am I afraid of saying yes because somewhere deep down inside I feel fundamentally flawed? Or I'm afraid of outshining? Or I'm afraid of kind of abandoning my roots, right? There are these things that kind of get in our way, and we'll use the excuse of money or time. And sometimes it's valid, but it only goes so far, right? Because if your tire blows, you're going to figure it out, right? And so we go, all right, is it really money? Anyway, I want you to take a moment and get real with yourself. What's your actual commitment level to feeling vibrant, to addressing your hormones, and to truly prioritizing your health, right? We say we want to feel amazing, but are we afraid of the changes that will come with that? Change is the most confronting thing that we can do. And are you holding back because deep down you don't feel worthy? Maybe you've been spending money on things that fill a temporary void, right? Things that make you feel good on the surface. But when it comes to investing what really matters, like your health, Sometimes women hesitate. Sometimes it feels too confronting. I've had clients say it's a lot easier to go, buy a $5,000 purse than it is to actually look themselves in the mirror. And we go, huh, isn't that fascinating? And ask yourself, what is my commitment level? Not what you wish it was, but what is it really? And if it's anything below an 8, I say that's a 5 in disguise. And the 5s don't create change. They stay in fine. But if you're willing to break through the limiting beliefs to decide today or maybe tomorrow that you're worthy of this investment, everything can change. Whether you work with me or not, this is about you deciding to stop playing small and finally step into the vibrant life that you deserve. And so then I ask the question, what are you waiting for? Right? So for the workbook today, go ahead and bring it out. I'll pull it up and do a share screen just for those of you that are watching from wherever you're watching. If we go into the last day of the workbook, there's day 3, day 4. So, right, in what ways have you settled for fine? And that commitment level. And then we get into thyroid, hormones, and adrenals. Okay. So we're going to kind of unpack that today and let's dig in there. So let's talk thyroid first. You're going to want pen and paper. This is the note taking time. Let's focus on how to take that clarity and turn it into action, right? The foundation of your vitality begins with your energy and your hormones. And once you support those, everything else, the gut, your mood, even your relationships start to align. Okay. So step 1 is ask for the right tests. Okay. When you're asking for the right tests, and listen, when I went to Yale, I did my nurse practitioner training. I was taught to order something called a TSH with a reflex T4. And it's likely what your provider has ordered, but it's not enough. Okay. So you want to ensure that they also include a free T4, a free T3, a reverse T3, and thyroid antibodies. Okay. So TSH, Tom, Sally, hamburger, TSH. Ideally, we want that between 1 and 2. Okay. And that's a hormone that's actually coming from your pituitary and communicating with the thyroid. It's giving the knock on the door. And then the thyroid responds with something called T4. And so sometimes maybe your TSH and your T4 are normal, but now we have to convert T4 over to T3, which is the usable form. Okay. Thyroid antibodies will show us, is there some type of kind of autoimmune thing that might be going on? And this provides a full picture. Now, the other thing is often the labs, when they give results, they'll have this range of normal. As an example, many labs will say a normal TSH is 0.45 to 4.5. But wait a minute. I said a normal TSH is between 1 and 2. So maybe your TSH was 3.1 and your provider looks at it. The lab says it's normal. The provider says it's normal. And you go on your merry way going, but gosh, I am kind of tired and I can't lose any weight. And I feel a little bit sluggish and this kind of borderline depression. And I don't quite recognize myself. And I feel kind of cold sometimes and whatever it may be. Right. But my provider said it was fine. So we want to go, all right, well, how do we ensure that we're getting the right tests? And do you have someone that really understands how to interpret the tests and is taking your symptoms seriously, right? Not dismissing you, not just sweeping it under the rug, but going, no, 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 this is real. Okay. And if the doctor is hesitant or the provider is hesitant, doesn't have to be a doctor, explain that optimal health requires understanding how your thyroid hormones convert and interact, not just your TSH. And sometimes it's so strange to me. Some providers won't order. It's like, well, why not? Just say, I'll pay cash or come to me and I can order them for you. And it's less expensive than even if you pay cash from any provider anyway. So we want to go, okay, let's get the right test. Then we want to adjust nutrition. Okay. So for thyroid specifically, we want to prioritize foods that support thyroid health. Okay. Those are specifically selenium rich foods like Brazil nuts and iodine rich foods like seaweed. Okay. If you're like, oh, gross, I don't like seaweed, there's lots more. Maybe look up iodine rich foods. You can also look up zinc rich foods. So we're wanting selenium, iodine, and zinc for healthy thyroid. Okay. That's going to help with thyroid production. That's going to help with overall well-being. And there's always the foundation of I also want to make sure my gut microbiome is stabilized and optimized. My liver is doing a good job. So for zinc-rich foods, we're thinking pumpkin seeds, shellfish, and you're always wanting a diet rich in antioxidants. So color, okay? White, like yellow, brown don't count. We're looking for rich colors like blueberries and spinach, right? We've got a bright blue, we've got a bright green to reduce inflammation and support the thyroid's role in metabolism, okay? As one rule of thumb, if you just go, okay, every time I sit down to eat a meal, are there at least three colors? White, yellow, brown don't count. Food coloring doesn't count. Can I count three bright colors? We have to remember that we don't have a vitamin deficiency, we have a whole food deficiency. So when you're getting it from the food source, hopefully it's grown in quality soil and hopefully it was picked at the peak of ripeness, which is a whole nother conversation. But we do our best. Hopefully it's organic and we do our best. But remember that when we're getting nutrients from the food, it works in synergy, right? So, an apple, as an example, you could take a supplement of vitamin C or you could eat an apple. You could take 1,000 milligrams of supplemental isolated vitamin C, or you can eat an apple that on average has 5 milligrams. But when it's measured in blood, they'll find the same amount of vitamin C. Huh. Wait a minute. What? Because an apple has all the other ingredients, 10,000 ingredients that we've identified plus the fiber and the water and the phytonutrients, the antioxidants, the minerals, and the body goes, oh yeah, this is the way nature intended it to be. I got it. I got the memo. I'll absorb all of that. Okay. Now, if you do want to add supplements specifically for thyroid, you might want to consider selenium and zinc if blood work indicates deficiencies. Okay. Selenium helps reduce thyroid antibodies. So if you come back, if you've been diagnosed with Hashimoto's or Graves, or those thyroid antibodies are high, right? And while zinc is crucial for the actual hormone production, plus they're both going to help in that conversion of T4 to T3. And I hope I'm not, if you're like, wait, you're speaking another language, just know that we want to get better tests. We want providers that know how to read them. They understand you. And our food can be our medicine. Our medicine can be our food. And then personalized supplements, not a shelf of supplements, not expensive urine. You pee out most of it anyway. Okay. And then I talk a lot about adaptogens. Adaptogens help the body better adapt to stress. You can find on my website free resources. I have free adaptogen elixir recipes. Make your adaptogen elixirs, drink them every day, drink them all day long. One adaptogen in particular that's great for a sluggish thyroid is called ashwagandha. Okay. So it's beneficial for stress reduction and blood sugar management, as well as a sluggish thyroid. And then you can work with a functional medicine provider to assess your adrenal health alongside thyroid, or you work with me. And that's why I order the Dutch Plus test is then I can see your 24-hour cortisol curve and we can get a real solid snapshot into what's going on with your adrenal function or adrenal fatigue. Because that adrenal fatigue and your thyroid imbalance can be really tied together. There's something called the HPA axis, which is the hypothalamic adrenal pituitary axis. And just the thing to know is they play as a really tight knit team. And so if there's something going on with your thyroid, then it tells me there's something going on with your adrenals. And the strange thing is the hypothalamus is the place of old trauma, which is one of the reasons why I also bring in nervous system work and I have a trauma release specialist. But it doesn't mean we have to do it all at once. Okay. We start with the trifecta as just the first 90 days. Okay. Let's get the foundation. Let's get you feeling better. And then after that, we can go into phase two, where maybe we start looking at gut microbiome testing. And that's usually a good like 6 months of recovery. And we start looking at the hypothalamus and old trauma and old stories, right? But it doesn't mean we have to take it all on at once. And so we want to focus on reducing chronic stress through practices like mindfulness and breathing and meditation and sleep hygiene. Along this workshop, I've seen a lot of you comment on those things that you're already doing, which is awesome. And if you're not, we got to start it, right? So stress directly affects our thyroid as well as our adrenal balance. Okay, so then if we talk about hormones, let's get into some real kind of nitty gritty solutions. Once again, we want to get the right testing. Okay. If I love the Dutch Plus test for lots of reasons, sometimes there's an occasional woman where I go, okay, no, we can look at it through blood work, fine. Sometimes it's a little bit less expensive. But the beauty of the Dutch Plus test is it shows me not just where are your hormones, but what does your body do with them? Okay. I can look at that 24-hour cortisol curve. I can look at what is your body doing with B vitamins and melatonin and dopamine. It gives us some markers around inflammation and gut health. Okay. And so it stands for Dried Urine Test for Comprehensive Hormones. And it really offers that complete picture of hormone levels. Um, and shows me how your body is metabolizing estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone, which can say a lot about symptoms. And also, if we add supplementation or if you choose to go on hormone replacement therapy, what your body might do with those. Okay. And then, like I said, it tracks cortisol levels for adrenal health. And the test is far more detailed than just a standard blood test. Now, often you'll go to providers and they won't order it, partially because they don't know how to interpret it or read it. And insurance doesn't cover it. So it's outside of that insurance kind of mainstream model. Okay. And then we want to go, okay, what can we do to adjust nutrition? Okay. So, one key thing that is always going to be helpful, um, my computer just reset. That was fascinating. I'm wondering, Aaliyah, if you're in the Google Drive? If we get into nutrition, I was going to mention cruciferous veggies. So if we get into cruciferous veggies, those are things like broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts. Cruciferous veggies are really going to help detoxify. They're also going to help with healthy estrogen levels. And so at a bare minimum, if you're like, okay, I really want healthy estrogen specifically, think, okay, am I eating cruciferous veggies? Um, and I'm trying to think what else I would think of with cruciferous. Your cauliflower. Like sometimes if you throw some cauliflower in with your smoothie, you can hide it. You can get the cauliflower rice at Costco. I'll often sneak that into soups, right? Roast some Brussels sprouts and wherever you can get those in. You can also take supplemental, what's called DIM, D-I-M. Imagine that as like a big dose of cruciferous veggies. So all of that is going to help your body better metabolize that estrogen. Okay. So whether you have estrogen dominance or you're having some of the not so great symptoms of estrogen. And then the other thing with estrogen is if you want to increase it, you can add things like primrose oil, red clover tea, quality soy, as long as it's organic and non-GMO. Ground flax is another great one for estrogen. And then we want to look at endocrine disruptors like your makeup and shampoo and conditioner and fragrances, like any of the car air fresheners, candles that have fake fragrance in them, get those out, okay? They mimic estrogen in the body, and the body takes it in and it actually throws our hormones off. And then healthy fats are going to be really important for production of all hormones. I think sometimes cholesterol's gotten a bad rap, but we have to remember that cholesterol is the basis of all hormone production. Okay, so your avocados, your nuts, your seeds, your olive oil, that's all going to be helpful for hormone production. If you're looking for testosterone, quality sleep, weight bearing exercise, and maca powder as a superfood. Those can all help testosterone levels. For progesterone support, you want to have healthy B vitamins, which is another reason why I love ordering the Dutch Plus test. We can look at what's going on with your B vitamins. And then some women respond really well to using wild yam cream. It's so fascinating. If you look up the data and the research, they all say, oh, no, it doesn't absorb through the skin. But man, oh, man, it's amazing when women try it and they go, oh, this feels so much better. I'm getting better sleep. Or if they use it to preemptively throw off their menstrual cycle because the body absorbs it as progesterone. Let's think for regarding supplements, I already mentioned maca as helpful for testosterone. trying to think if there's any other supplements that I want to suggest. Magnesium and B6 are critical for progesterone production. And also, if you have strong PMS, mood swings, irritability, difficulty with sleep, whether you're in perimenopause, beyond menopause, those are all going to be really helpful. And then once again, zinc. So I mentioned zinc in the conversation around thyroid. It's also going to support testosterone production, which can help improve libido and energy levels, like I mentioned in day one. Okay, this is really heady. I know there's a lot of notes. I want to make sure we're also taking it all in. So curious, any questions that are popping up, please put them in the chat. And just one word so far, like what's something that you're feeling, what's something that you're noticing about yourself. Maybe put in the chat, it's a beautiful day. Just put in the chat, it's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. What would you recommend for burning candles or fresheners? Yeah. So you can get quality candles that are usually beeswax based, and they actually have pure aromatherapy in there instead. But the synthetic fragrances that show up in those like plug-in air fresheners, the big fragrance-filled candles, they're actually toxic to the body. Raining here. That's okay if it's raining. It can still be a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. Glad to be here. We had snow. Ooh, yeah, we haven't had snow yet, but I live in an area where we don't get much snow. Okay, good. A functional medicine approach, so true about candles. Yeah. Yeah. That's a whole conversation regarding endocrine disruptors, which can be a deep dive, right? It can be cutting out plastics out of your kitchen. It can be cleaning up beauty care products, cleaning products, um, kitchen cooking utensils. I mean, there's so much. And so I think it's nice to kind of break it down into bite-sized pieces, but just know that if hormones are off, if you have a history of fibroids, if you have a family history of breast cancer, if you're really moody, if you feel like your hormones are super out of balance, we really want to take into consideration endocrine disruptors. Um, and so from a functional medicine perspective, it's that Dutch Plus test. It's making sure that you're working with someone that they really know it and you can get a personalized approach. Once again, keeping in mind that we're not existing in a silo, right? It's not just let's fix your estrogen. It's not just let's fix your adrenals, but we have to keep in mind that everything is relevant. Your stress level, your lifestyle, your nutrition. I've got clients all over the world. Some of them live in really rural places where they might not have access to amazing grocery stores, or they're on a more strict budget, or they're on lots of airplanes and travel all the time. And that's all relevant and important. So when you're finding someone as a support system, make sure that they know you. You feel really heard and seen. I see we had a local company in Vermont called Pure Energy. They make natural candles. Cool. Yeah. I mean, like you can find farmers markets. Often there's local vendors. I've got mine burning up there right now underneath my rose quartz wings. And that was gifted to me from a client when she came to a retreat. But you can look at the ingredients and it's really pure, simple ingredients, right? Okay, so then if we talk about adrenals, let's get into some solutions there. Once again, the Dutch Plus test. You might have gone in, have blood work done, and maybe they've ordered a cortisol level, but it's at that specific time of the day and it's just 1 point. It doesn't really give us a whole lot. It's like, okay, in relationship to what? In comparison to what? Right? I want to see that your cortisol is nice and low when you first wake up. It rises naturally and not too high and not too low by 30 minutes. By 60 minutes, it's back into that normal kind of mid range. And then through the afternoon, it starts to go down. And before bed, it's down. Okay. We want to see that natural cortisol curve. Whereas if it's super high or super low, that tells me and the team a lot to give you a personalized approach. Okay. And so the Dutch Plus test not only measures those sex hormones, but also the cortisol level over time. I like to order the Dutch Plus specifically because then I can also see what's called the cortisol awakening response. If today we have enough time, I can even do a share screen and show an example. And so it could be because we want to see patterns of cortisol dysregulation. And that tells me a lot around sluggishness in the morning versus the evening, and will cater the approach to maybe pushing something for adrenal support a little bit stronger in the morning versus the afternoon based on that curve. With adrenals, you're thinking fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, right? So, how do we help support your deep nervous system feeling safe? It's blood sugar stability. It's eating balanced meals with protein and healthy fats and fiber rich carbohydrates. It's adaptogens, right? It's also getting clear with our stinking thinking. What is going in and out of our eyes and our heart? Where is our stress level? How are we choosing to perceive the stress level? And we have this unconscious mind kind of running the show. I love, there's a visual, it came from Tracy Litt, and it's this picture of this little girl riding a really big elephant. And so that little girl is like the tip of the iceberg. It's 5%. It's our conscious mind. And here we are trying to like move this big elephant. But when it comes to adrenal health, yes, we want to move the elephant with nutrition and supplementation and the right testing. The elephant is the subconscious mind. That's the part of like our old reptilian brain. That reptilian brain is 500 million years old. Old. Lots of time to evolve. That's core safety. And then we go up to the conscious mind or up into the what's called the neocortex. That's like 2 million years old. 2 million years, that's old. But in comparison, we've got to address the elephant. We've got to address that overall stress level, which can be conscious, but it is also much of it unconscious, which is one of the reasons why over time we bring in trauma release and that kind of stuff. But also just things that you can do on a daily basis, like emotional freedom technique and what I call the lion stroke and breath work. And then when you come to the retreats, this next retreat in April in the Dominican, I'm going to be doing a whole exercise with the women. It's called primitive reflex unwinding. So we go back deep, deep into that unconscious place, like almost into that reptilian brain, back into the womb. And we rewire the pieces that somehow, after the first year of life, our primitive reflexes should go away, no longer needed. But most of us as adults are walking around with those primitive reflexes still in place. So foundationally, we're not feeling safe. Anyway, I could talk about that forever. But for today, for things that you can change, the other thing with adrenal health is foods that are really rich in vitamin C, like bell peppers, citrus fruit, leafy greens. This morning, with my daughter not feeling well, I think we must have eaten 4 kiwis. So we want nutrients that are essential. Okay, that doesn't, I did not take note. I did not say go take vitamin C. I did say eat foods that are rich in vitamin C. Okay. Now, if you are someone that's going to supplement with vitamin C, please make sure it's liposomal. And then always include adaptogenic foods like mushrooms, reishi, chaga, herbs like rhodiola and ashwagandha. And then as you enroll in the trifecta, I have a number of modules that really unpack this to really help you understand what I'm talking about. Okay. Um, when it comes to adaptogens, there's lots of brands out there. There's Rasa, there's Four Sigmatic, there's Mudwater. You can get them supplementally. Once again, just grab the free resource, the adaptogen elixir recipes, make them, drink them, enjoy them like a latte, right? Your B vitamins are going to help support your adrenal health. And if you're like, okay, this is too much, just pick one thing. Just pick one thing. We start with one thing. And then when we start working together, we can really fine tune it and personalize it, right? Another one is licorice root. It can be used in cases of low cortisol to extend what's called the half life of cortisol so that we get more bang for our buck with cortisol. But once again, this is not just like haphazard. My preference is that you're doing this under guidance, right? With someone who knows you and has looked at your labs and you're really getting a personalized approach. Um, I think that's good. Obviously, aiming for consistent sleep. If you guys are like, I know, that's why I'm here, I'm not sleeping. Okay. Well, let's start there. Let's really help you fine tune your sleep. Is it nervous system regulation? Is it that your body simply needs some more progesterone, right? Maybe a little bit of melatonin. Maybe it's the circadian rhythm and what your eyes are being exposed to with light. There's a lot of things that we can do, right? Sometimes it's magnesium. And so the woman came on yesterday. I was like, how about this tea? I go, well, it's more complex than that. Okay. The other thing with sleep, and I talk about this a lot in the sleep deep dive, is sedation is not sleep. So sometimes people will do an Ambien or drink some alcohol in the evening to wind down, and they're like, oh, it helps me sleep so much better. But if your body's a log, but your brain's not actually going into REM or deep REM sleep, you're not actually getting the restorative benefits. Okay, so once again, sedation is not sleep. What we're looking for is quality restorative sleep. Sometimes it can be as simple as just cutting off caloric intake within 4 hours of going to bed. So blood flow can go to the brain rather than to the gut. Sometimes it's cutting out caffeine, right? There's a few different things that we can do. So anyway, um, I was thinking through when I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about today. Went, God, it was so cool to hear Krista share her transformation, to go from being on multiple medications, bloated, uncomfortable, in pain, told that she'd be on those for the rest of her life. And then to fast forward, her first 6 month experience, and then year, and then 2 years, and then 3 years, and three retreats, her whole life is transformed. Of course, the bloating's gone and she's lost the weight and she's off all the meds and she's feeling spectacular and she's lit up. And I don't remember, I know her so well. I don't want to, I don't remember what all the specifics that she gave, but her life transformed. So much that now she's come in and she's a community manager and she's here in her own time offering support to each and every one of you that come in. So when you come in, she'll offer up, let's meet for tea on Zoom. She'll be on the group calls and she's there to hold your hand every step of the way. And now she's become a yoga instructor and she's Reiki certified and she's become certified as a breathwork facilitator. Before that, she like ran the tourism and economics for the western part of Canada. It's like, what? So cool to watch the transformation. You heard from Aaliyah as the program coordinator, and really she's like the ops manager for the company. She's been with me for 6 years and she's here supporting you guys every step of the way as that cheerleader. It brought her to tears. She's so moved by the purpose behind the work because it's impacting your life, not just your sleep, not just your energy, but your life and the ripple effect that that has in the world. And we all know that a rising tide lifts all boats. Picture that. You've got boats out in a harbor and the tide rises, they all go up. So, what I know is when I feel spectacular and you feel spectacular, that's the energy that we pour into the people that we touch. And it lifts them up and then it lifts others up. And we have that ripple effect and it's touching and it's profound and it's worthy. This isn't just superficial stuff that we're talking about where you're going to go like, oh, I've got this magic pill. I'm going to start taking it. It's better. Now, granted, many women come in and between me and Katie, we do get you on a very simplified supplement regimen and you will have profound results. Of course, I want you feeling better swiftly, but then what? And then what? Right? Laura and Wanda shared, I think that was day one, just randomly kind of unannounced coming on and saying, Wanda saying her life changed and it's the real deal. She mentioned thyroid, she mentioned systemic mold and feeling like she had that support system. Laura came to a retreat and built her trust in me and my intuition and my ability to hold that container, right? Those are real people. And then Melody came on yesterday and she said everything transformed. She had already tried the thing. She'd tried the mindset work. She was a yoga instructor for years and she just didn't understand why she wasn't feeling so well. And it all turned around. Those aren't pretend things. These are not like actresses. These are real people in real lives. And when the lights turn back on, what then? Vision turns on, confidence turns on, relationships turn up, presence turns on, right? And as you go to the replay page, all of those testimonials, same thing. Real women sharing real stories. And there's so many more. There's so many more. I think about Melinda. She came in initially with just menopause. Like what? Felt like the rug got pulled out from under her. Hot flashes and mood swings and vaginal pain. And then she shared publicly, it all changed swiftly within a couple months. And then for her, she kept going. And then we went to month 4. She's like, well, now what am I going to do? And then she's changed how she was thinking and she changed her presence and she was running a business and like the lights turned on. And then she changed how she was interacting with her family members and her daughters. And they're going, wow. A couple of her, I think her sister and friend are here attending this event. That's a ripple effect. And I'm so grateful that you're here. I think about Kathleen Cameron. She's a manifestation coach in the world, impacting tens of thousands of lives. And I mean, from a manifestation standpoint, I think she's manifested $36 million in the last 3 years through identity change. But she came to me because she knew that she needed to prioritize her health. And she hired me as a health coach and she wanted to lose 100 pounds. And I said, I'm not going to help with a weight loss program. I will help with reducing inflammation and optimizing cellular well-being and focusing on longevity. And she said, yeah, that. So yes, she lost the 100 pounds. And yes, her health journey is continuing, but it's not about gimmicks. It's not about diets. It's not about quick fixes. Anyway, and then we can, the whole idea of what we consume and detoxify, we can create powerful change by making small adjustments to what goes in and out of our eyes, our mouth, and our heart, right? So, what else? Estrogen, we want to support detoxification pathways, support your liver, support your gut, and be choiceful with what goes in. I'm doing a liver and gallbladder detox in January. Yeah, I'm not going to be like juicing and cleansing and pooping out my brains. I did that kind of cleanse before I was a mom. I think my life is too full right now for that. But I am going to be doing a 30-day cleanse starting in January. If you're like, I want to do a big detox, reach out. It can be a group collective experience with really quality supplements. This detox, the physician that designed it is the same one that helped Tony Robbins when he had heavy metal poisoning. But for estrogen, we really want to focus on not just what's the estrogen level, but how's it getting out of the body. Okay, with progesterone, we want to focus on stress reduction. And I mentioned magnesium and B vitamins. For those that are still menstruating, progesterone is most dominant in our PMS week. It's known as our luteal phase. So it's not the time where we want to push ourselves, right? It's the time where we want to put layers on by the hearth and surround ourselves with our inner circle. Be tender with ourselves, not push intermittent fasting, but eat the chocolate because we're craving it. And now research is showing that cacao stimulates stem cells. Like there's research now that proves dark chocolate is good for us. I mentioned for testosterone, healthy fats, right? We don't want to take our cholesterol too low. If you've been put on a statin, it's touchy. Okay. It's not just high cholesterol, it's high cholesterol with stress. That's the problem in the first place. And if you're on a statin, you've got to be supplementing with CoQ10 and we've got to watch it so it doesn't go too low. Because if your cholesterol goes too low, you don't have the building blocks for the hormones, right? I talked about thyroid, avoiding inflammatory foods, ensuring you're getting the right nutrients. We want to get the right tests, right? And then adrenals, adaptogens, adapt. They help the body better adapt to stress. And we do a deep dive into what are adaptogens and fine tune your adaptogen elixir so that it's something that's yummy and enjoyable and you can drink it all day long. Today, I actually made one with the matcha mud water. So yummy. And I gave it to my mom too. You should have seen me this morning. My mom's living here with knee replacement surgery. My 10-year-old's sick. I gave my mom a shower. I'm helping my daughter. She's sitting on my lap. We're like, woo, this is life, you know? And of course, we're getting nutrient dense foods. I also, on a side note, gave my daughter encapsulated colostrum and Juice Plus and Echinacea and Golden Seal because she's under the weather. And then a super pulse of vitamin D is in dog. You can always ask me about that from an immune system perspective. Tomorrow for the live Q&A, for those of you that want to, make sure you let Aaliyah know. It will be here on Zoom. It will not be live streamed to Facebook. I'm also not going to record it. So for those of you that are watching the replays, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to put it on the replay page, partially because this will be real women that are attending the workshop. There's about 300 of you. So whoever decides to come on live, you're welcome to really be vulnerable. Show up for what's real. If I do record it, it's not going to be on the replay page. Okay. So for those of you watching the replay, really do try to show up 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow on Sunday, if you can. And if not, it's all good, right? You have the rest of this amazing workshop. You have the support system of everybody. But I do want to remind you that that's there. Okay. And bring your real honest self. If you want to email Aaliyah your labs in advance, email them. She'll file them and she'll have them ready and I can come up. And if you're okay with it, I can do a share screen and we can unpack stuff. Um, and of course, I know I've said it, but I've got to say it again. The Women's Vibrancy Accelerator Trifecta is now open, right? Significantly decreased pricing. It's pretty substantial. I mean, the cost of the labs alone is $1,000. That is $1,000 out of pocket. This is substantial. Plus, you get 2 one-on-one calls with me, a one-on-one call with the team dietitian, all of the self-paced modules. Hopefully, you enjoy that. It's just one a week. Twice a month live Q&As. It's substantial. You get a lot of support. Now, it's not going to work if you give me your money and don't show up. Okay? And please don't. I'd rather not take your money. You've got to say, yes, this is something that I want. I'm going to do the labs. I'm going to take the steps, even though it's confronting, even though I'm getting in my own way. And self sabotage is going to show up consciously or unconsciously. And we'll be there to go, hey, as a reminder, Aaliyah will be there as the program coordinator. Hey, did you book your call? Hey, we've got the live Q&A. You show up and you take it seriously because your vitality is important. Okay. Um, I just have to take a breath to that because it's really important. You're important. Aaliyah put in the chat. Hey, she's already doing it. I see you, Aaliyah. So once again, 90 days, 3 one-on-one calls. Thank you for fixing the website to the team, whoever did that. So yes, it's correct now. 2 one-on-one calls with me, one-on-one call with Aaliyah, who's the registered dietitian. You get the full assessment. There's going to be a quantifiable assessment. We're going to ask that you fill out measurables. We're going to ask that you do a 1 week food diary. Then there's going to be lab work, the Dutch Plus test, blood testing, looking at your thyroid and your vitamin D and your CRP. And then, like we said, you have until December 15th. Normally it's 9,500, but now it's only 42. Plus, you get the VIP day as long as you say yes by end of day on the 14th. And for those of you that say yes by the end of Sunday, I'm adding in those more intimate group calls, which is generally just for the women in the year-long program. And that's more like in the $24,000 range. Okay, so it's a pretty substantial gift. But I go, okay, how do I set this up so that you can have success? Because your success is my success. This isn't just some job. This is my passion. And when I do those testimonials, it lights me up just as much as it lights them up. Because I believe it's rising the planet. That rising tide is impacting humanity. It's literally that big for me. Aaliyah's there, Krista's there, I'm there. And I go, okay, maybe it's your hormones. Maybe it's how you approach your self-worth. Maybe it's your partner. I often say, is it that you're not turned on or is it that you're not turned on by what's being offered to you? That's a whole nother conversation. Maybe it's your work and how your weeks are spent and the stress level. Maybe it's who you're asking for help. Maybe it's your gut health. Maybe it's your overachieving nature. Maybe it's your adrenals and your stress response. Maybe it's that you're not setting boundaries. Maybe it's all of it. Maybe it's that you're not getting the nutrients that you need. Maybe something's really off, even though you've been told everything looks fine. Maybe you've been settling for fine. And we get to ask ourselves, am I ready to take a pause? What do I desire? Am I connected to myself? Am I allowing myself to feel? Am I hydrated? Have I eaten today? Have I taken my supplements today? Am I allowing myself to receive? Am I dreaming? Am I vision casting? Am I breathing? And who am I asking for health advice? I often say we can't ask people for directions to places that they haven't been. Only 1/3 of physicians graduate from med school having taken one nutrition class. So if you're going to your current primary care provider asking for nutrition support or asking for more foundationally care, you're kind of asking them for directions to places they haven't been. They have lots of pharmacology training, great at surgery, awesome. If you want another prescription drug, great place to go. But very few of them are going to be trained or even passionate about or have the time for the kind of foundational support that you get in this space. I see. Music just came on? What do you mean music just came on? Where? Are you guys all hearing music? Aaliyah's saying in the chat, and music just came on. Turn off. It's loud, Mariah. Turn off the music. What music? Is anybody else hearing music? I'm not seeing anybody head nod. No. Aaliyah, I think it might be on your side. Okay, no one else is hearing the music, Aaliyah. I don't know what to tell you. Um, you've got music going on in your own head. Okay, so we've got 3 minutes left. Let's close it out. I'm just grateful for each and every one of you in this experience of pause. It's been a delight for me. This stuff is so fun for me to do. Some people are like, "What do you mean you're doing another free workshop? Isn't draining?" No, it's not draining. It lifts me up. I love pouring into people. I love the fact that I can offer something. This is free. Between my podcast and this, it's free. My social media is free. Now, what do you do with it is the big question. For the women that have really profound, big changes, they come in and they say yes. For this, it's the trifecta. They say yes. Let's give it 90 days. At the end of 90 days, we can reassess what comes next. But for now, as we close up, I just want to have you close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes. Relax your jaw. Relax your eyebrows. Rest your tongue on the roof of your mouth. Feel your feet on the ground. Relax your hands. I'm going to ask that you put your hands on your thighs, palms up. And inhale and exhale slowly. Feel yourself sinking into the present moment, letting everything else fade away. Even if you're multitasking, even Aaliyah, I know you, you've probably got all the screens open. We all get to receive right now. This is your time, just for you. And I want you to imagine your life as it is right now. The daily routines, the pressures, the moments of fine. See yourself standing still as the world moves around you. Notice the weight of it. If there's exhaustion, if there's frustration, if there's irritability, if there's feeling stuck, all the doing for everyone, if there's any feelings of disconnection from yourself or from others, allow yourself just to go, what does that feel like? Whatever burdens are there, where in my body do I feel them? What does it feel like? Feel the heaviness. Perhaps even there's feelings of loneliness, like a quiet ache or a tightness in your throat, a stabbing or a pressure in your chest, a queasy in your belly. And I want you to imagine that you have a spout right at the tailbone and just turn that spout on and let all that heavy energy settle down and go down. Like you can just turn on a waterfall. It comes down out your tailbone and it's a gift to the earth. Just let it go. Let it go. And then close the spout. Okay, now imagine nothing changes. Days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months, and months into years. And what happens if you stay here? Picture the ripple effect on your health, your relationships, your dreams. What does it cost you? How does it feel? Be honest and just sit with it for a moment. What do you notice? And take a deep breath in and exhale. And let's shift. Let's move. See a path. Maybe you see like a big field of grass, or you see a cobblestone street. Maybe you see a path down to the beach. See the path and start walking down it. And we're going to watch this path unfold before you. It's bright, it's expansive, it's full of possibilities. And imagine what it feels like to abolish fine, to wake up every day energized, excited, pain-free, alive in your body, deeply connected with yourself and with your relationships and the people around you. See yourself prioritizing your vitality, saying yes to the things that light you up. Imagine your relationships deepening, your health thriving, your mind clear and focused. This is your birthright to feel vibrant, radiant, and free. Let me say it again. This is your birthright. It's not earned. Walk down that path and just see it. Feel your body, light, dancing, ease. And feel that version of you. What does she look like? What is she wearing? How does she move through her day? How does she inspire others? Simply by being herself, allowing herself to be felt. And what I know is this version of you is waiting. And all you need to do is take one bold step forward. Ask yourself, if not this, then what? If not now, then when? You deserve more than fine. You deserve to feel vibrant, connected, and alive. Now bring your hand to your heart and take one more deep breath in. Feel the power within you to create the change. And say to yourself, I am worth it. I choose bold action. I choose vibrancy. And when you're ready, open your eyes and allow yourself to step. Step into the life you are meant to lead. And just take a step. And with that, the pause event is officially complete. For those of you that choose to be on the closed door live Q&A tomorrow, I can't wait to see you. I appreciate each and every one of you. And ta-ta for now.